I remember the first time I realized I wanted something I couldn't have. It wasn't the kind of love you read about in novels or see in movies, bright, uncomplicated, destined. No, this was a love wrapped in shadows and silence, one that lived in the spaces between what was possible and what was forbidden. It was the kind of love that felt like a secret wound, beautiful and painful all at once. He was everything I wasn't supposed to want. The kind of person who stirred something wild and untamable inside me, a force that both exhilarated and terrified. We belonged to different worlds, separate paths that were never meant to cross in anything more than passing moments, and yet somehow they did. Our connection was a delicate thread woven through stolen glances and whispered words. We never spoke of what we both knew was impossible, but in every look, in every fleeting touch, the unspoken longing grew louder. It was a love destined to be denied, a story written in the margins of our lives. I tried to tell myself to let go, to forget the yearning that burned quietly beneath the surface. But love has a way of clinging to your soul, refusing to be ignored. It's a ghost that haunts your every thought, a melody that plays softly beneath the noise of everyday life. The love I couldn't have shaped me in ways I didn't expect. It taught me about desire and restraint, about the cruel beauty of longing. It forced me to confront the limits of what's possible and the depths of what the heart can endure. And though it was never mine to hold, that love remains a part of me, a bittersweet memory etched into my being, a reminder that sometimes the most profound love is the one that slips through your fingers. I still remember the way his presence filled the room, even when he wasn't saying a word. It wasn't loud or flashy, it was something quieter, more subtle. A warmth that radiated without trying, a calm confidence that drew me in, even though I told myself I shouldn't be drawn at all. We met in those ordinary moments, the kind that sneak up on you without warning. A shared coffee break, a chance encounter in the hallway, a brief conversation about something trivial but somehow meaningful. From the very beginning, I knew this was a love I could never claim. There were too many reasons, too many obstacles stacked against us, differences in circumstances, timing, even the invisible lines we dared not cross. Yet, my heart betrayed me, beating faster whenever he was near, holding on to every word, every glance, as if it were a lifeline. I tried to bury it, to convince myself that what I felt was just a passing fancy, a distraction from my real life. But the truth is, love isn't something you switch off like a light. It grows quietly in the corners of your mind, sometimes so small you don't notice until it's already taken root. I spent nights lying awake, imagining what could have been if things were different. If fate had given us another chance, another path, another moment. The what-ifs spun through my mind like a relentless tide, pulling me deeper into a longing that was both beautiful and unbearable. That love was never meant to be mine, but it was real. It was fierce in its silence, persistent in its absence. It became a shadow that followed me, a bittersweet melody that played in the background of my life. Through that love, I learned what it means to desire someone without possession, to cherish what cannot be held. I learned that love can exist in many forms, not just in the holding, but in the letting go. And though I never had him, that love shaped me. It taught me about the strength it takes to love without expectation, the grace in accepting what life doesn't give you, and the courage to carry on even when your heart is breaking. Because sometimes the love you can't have is the love that changes you the most. I remember how every little thing about him seemed to etch itself into my memory. The way his laughter would ripple through a room and catch my breath. The way his eyes held stories that no one else seemed to understand. It was in the small, everyday moments that our connection quietly deepened, even though neither of us dared to speak the words that hovered between us like a fragile glass sculpture. Beautiful yet impossibly fragile. He was always just out of reach, a presence felt but never fully grasped. And that distance was the cruelest part of it all. To love someone so deeply, yet know you can never have them. To walk beside them, to share smiles and fleeting touches, but never cross the line into something more. I caught myself replaying conversations in my head, analyzing every pause, every glance, searching for hidden meanings or secret invitations. I longed to tell him how I felt, to break the silence and lay bare my heart. But fear held me back. The fear of rejection, of losing the connection we already had, of shattering the delicate balance that kept us in each other's lives, even if only as friends. The nights were the hardest. When the world was quiet and I was alone with my thoughts, the ache of unrequited love pressed heavy on my chest. I'd stare out the window, watching the city lights flicker and fade, wondering what might have been if only circumstances were different. What if I had been braver? What if he had seen me the way I saw him? But those questions led nowhere. They only deepened the wound. I learned that some loves aren't meant to be answered. They're meant to be carried silently, like a secret melody playing softly beneath the noise of life. In time, I found ways to cope. I buried myself in work and hobbies, sought comfort in friends, and tried to convince myself that the love I couldn't have was just a chapter in my story, not the whole book. Yet, even as I moved forward, a part of me remained tethered to that impossible love, a reminder of what it feels like to yearn for something beyond reach. That love taught me resilience, the strength to hold on and let go at the same time. It taught me grace, the ability to love someone without needing to possess them. And it taught me hope, that even the love we cannot have shapes us in ways that prepare us for the love that's still to come. Now, when I think of him, it's not with sadness but with gratitude. For the lessons learned, for the depths of feeling experienced, and for the reminder that love, in all its forms, is a powerful force that changes us forever. The love I couldn't have was never lost. It lives within me, quietly guiding me toward the future, toward a love that is real, that is mutual, that is mine. And until that love arrives, I carry this one gently, a cherished memory of a heart that dared to hope against the odds. The months stretched on, each day folding into the next with a quiet ache nestled deep in my chest. I watched him from afar, sharing smiles and conversations that never crossed the line into something more. It was a delicate dance, one I both treasured and dreaded, because every moment we spent near each other was a reminder of what could never be mine. Sometimes I wondered if he sensed the depth of my feelings, if he saw beyond my carefully guarded smile. But he never said. And maybe that silence was his own kind of protection, a way to preserve what we had, without risking the heartbreak that would come from acknowledging what we both knew but dared not name. I became an expert at pretending that my heart wasn't breaking a little every time he walked away, pretending that the ache wasn't real. I told myself that this love, the love I couldn't have, was enough. That the brief moments of connection, however fleeting, were blessings in disguise. But late at night, when the world was still and the noise faded, the truth surfaced in full force. The truth that love is a fierce and fragile thing, and sometimes it's the love we can't hold that shapes us the most. I carried that love like a secret flame, warm and bright, but hidden away where no one could see. It taught me patience, endurance, and the bittersweet grace of loving without possession. It reminded me that some of the most profound connections don't need to be fulfilled to be meaningful. And slowly, I began to heal. I learned to cherish the parts of myself that love had touched, the parts that grew stronger even in longing. I opened my heart to new possibilities, new people, new dreams, carrying the lessons of that impossible love with me. Because love isn't always about holding on tightly. Sometimes it's about letting go with gratitude, honoring what was, and trusting that what's meant for you will find its way. The love I couldn't have was never wasted. It lives on in me. A quiet strength, a tender memory, and a reminder that even the deepest longing can lead to growth, hope, and eventually, new love. And as I walk forward now, I do so with an open heart, ready to embrace the love that awaits. The love that is real, reciprocal, and mine to hold. The truth is, some loves aren't about being together. They're about what they teach us, about longing, about patience, about the depths of the human heart. The love I couldn't have was like a delicate thread woven through the fabric of my life, fragile but enduring, invisible to most but deeply felt by me. In the quiet moments when I was alone with my thoughts, I realized that love doesn't always mean possession or fulfillment. Sometimes it means simply holding space in your heart for someone who touched your soul, even if you never held their hand or heard them say the words you longed for. I learned to cherish that love as a sacred gift, a reminder that my capacity to feel deeply was a strength, not a weakness. It taught me that love can be both beautiful and painful, a paradox that shapes who we are and who we become. With time, I began to heal the wounds left by what might have been. I forgave myself for the moments of pain, for the nights spent dreaming of a future that wasn't mine. I forgave him too, not because circumstances allowed us to be together, but because holding on to anger or regret would only bind me to a past I needed to leave behind. I found peace in acceptance that some loves are meant to inspire us, not complete us. That sometimes the greatest act of love is to let go. And in letting go, I opened myself to new beginnings. To love that could be embraced fully, freely, and without the shadows of impossibility. The love I couldn't have became a quiet strength within me, a chapter of my story that I carry with grace and gratitude. It reminds me that the heart's capacity to love is boundless, that even unfulfilled love leaves its mark, a mark that shapes us, teaches us, and ultimately prepares us for the love that is yet to come. So now, as I walk forward, I do so with an open heart, carrying the lessons of that impossible love like a precious keepsake. Ready to love again, fully, bravely, and without hesitation. Because sometimes the love you can't have is the love that teaches you how to love yourself, and that perhaps is the greatest love of all.